Ethan Cole had it all, or so it seemed. At 22, he was one of the fastest sprinters in the collegiate circuit, a three-time national champion with Olympic dreams, and corporate scouts watching his every stride. Coaches said he was born to run, his friends said he'd go all the way, and deep down, Ethan believed it too. But fate has a way of testing belief. It happened during the semifinals of the national trials. Ethan had been pushing himself harder than ever, nursing a hamstring strain he hadn't told anyone about. The finish line was only 30 meters away when something snapped, visibly, audibly. He collapsed mid-stride, clutching his leg, pain flashing across his face before the roar of the crowd dissolved into silence. His Olympic dream ended in a single step. The doctors told him the injury was severe. Torn ligaments. Muscle damage. He'd walk again? Sure, but running competitively? Not likely. Surgery was followed by endless rehab. He tried to stay positive at first, but every visit to the physiotherapy center felt like a step backward. His strength faded. His name stopped trending. The congratulatory messages stopped coming. The spotlight moved on. And so did Ethan's spirit. He returned to his hometown, Grey Ridge, a quiet place of old farms and slower days, where people remembered him as the fast kid. Now they only whispered when he limped past. With each pitying glance, his bitterness deepened. He boxed up his trophies, deleted his race videos, and stopped answering calls from teammates or fans. Even his coach's attempts to reach out were met with silence. Ethan wasn't just broken physically, he was unraveling from the inside. It was during a rainy afternoon, while clearing out his father's old storage shed, that he stumbled upon a weathered envelope with his name on it. It was dated 4 years ago. His father had passed away the previous year, and seeing his handwriting again hit Ethan like a punch to the chest. Hands trembling, he opened the letter. It read, "Son, if you're reading this, it means life has taken a turn you didn't expect. Maybe something went wrong. Maybe it hurts more than you can bear. If so, I want to remind you of something I always hoped you'd remember. Life doesn't measure a man by how fast he runs when the road is smooth. It measures him by how he walks when the path is uphill, rocky, and lonely. Strength isn't speed, it's the refusal to give up, ever. You were never just born to win, son. You were born to endure." Ethan read the letter 3 times. He didn't cry, not then. He just sat in the shed, listening to the rain, clutching the paper like it was a lifeline. The next morning, he walked to the old high school track, the same one where he'd broken his first records. The rubber was cracked, grass growing through the corners. He took 1 lap, walking slowly, leaning on his cane. It took nearly 10 minutes, and his leg ached with each step. A few students watched him curiously from a distance. One even giggled. But Ethan came back the next day, and the next. After a week, an older woman approached him. She was in her 60s, lean but tough-looking, with sun-worn skin and sharp eyes. "You're Ethan Cole," she said, arms crossed. "I'm Grace. I used to coach cross-country back in the day. You gonna keep limping around or do something about it?" He smirked. "What would you suggest?" Grace tilted her head. "Pain is part of the deal. Quitting's not. If you want to crawl back, I'll help you. But I'm not here to make you feel good. I'm here to make you better." And so began Ethan's second journey, not to fame or gold medals, but to redemption. Grace's method wasn't conventional. She believed in resilience conditioning. That meant ice baths at dawn, bodyweight drills, pool therapy, and long walks that turned into short jogs, then longer runs. When Ethan fell, she didn't reach for him. She made him get up on his own. He cursed, he cried, he doubted. But he came back every day. Months passed, then a year, then 2. By now, Ethan could run a mile again. Not fast, not competitively, but he was moving forward, and that was enough. But the true test came unexpectedly. A local half-marathon opened registration. Grace handed him the form. "I'm not ready," he said. "No one ever is," she replied. "You're not running to win, you're running to finish." The morning of the race, Ethan stood among a sea of strangers. Young runners, old joggers, first-timers. Some recognized him. One kid even asked for a selfie. Ethan smiled, awkward but genuine. The race began. The first 5 miles were smooth. At mile 6, his leg began to tighten. By mile 9, he almost stopped. His mind screamed to quit. But then he remembered the letter. He whispered the words, "Strength isn't speed. It's the refusal to give up." And he kept going. At mile 12, people began cheering as he approached the final stretch. He wasn't first. He wasn't even in the middle of the pack, but he was still standing, still moving. When he crossed the finish line, his vision blurred. He wasn't sure if it was sweat or tears, but he felt something he hadn't in years. Not pride exactly, more like peace. In the months that followed, Ethan didn't return to racing. He started something new. He opened the Longest Mile Foundation, a program for injured athletes, disabled runners, and anyone who thought they'd never walk or run again. The motto was simple. It's not about how fast you finish, it's about never giving up before you do. Years later, a young girl named Asha trained with Ethan. She had lost a leg in an accident. With a prosthetic and Ethan's coaching, she learned to run again. She went on to qualify for the Paralympics. In an interview, when asked about her biggest influence, Asha said, "Coach Ethan taught me that the longest mile isn't the one on the track. It's the one between giving up and trying one more time. And that's the mile I run every day." And so Ethan's legacy lived, not on billboards, not in medals, but in every soul who chose to rise, walk, and run again.